Hey everyone, I'm David.
And I'm Leonie.
And we're proud to be able to bring our 6th episode now of Marketing Simplified. Especially a warm welcome to our guest, Amber Bills.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. And so we're sharing this Facebook Live feed out to Maple Valley, Covington, Enumclaw, Black Diamond. And so I'm sure that many of you probably have come across advertising or have heard the name Amber Bills. She was our real estate agent, and which kind of leads to the big news that we have to share. Leonie, do you want to tell everybody the big news from us?
Our house is sold.
Our house is sold. And we're actually homeless right now. But no, we're actually looking for a new house right now. But Amber and her team, they did a phenomenal job helping us through the process. And our home was sold. Basically, the offer that we accepted came in within just 4 days.
Yeah. And you're staying there after it closed for a couple weeks.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So we do have time until the 15th. So nobody has to worry. I was just joking. And right now, I know that a lot of people, including myself, have been thinking about what is the market doing with COVID-19 and the pandemic. And by the way, just so everybody knows that we're actually practicing social distancing guidelines, split screen, 6 foot apart. Amber's going to be sharing a little bit about why right now is actually a great time to be thinking about buying and selling. Mm-hmm. And then more importantly, on the marketing side, giving some practical tips around what to look for from a real estate agent as far as the marketing goes so that your house could be sold in 4 days as well. But before we dive in to all of that, as usual, Leonie has 2 random questions for our guest.
Question number 1. What is your favorite hobby in summer?
Well, my favorite hobbies in the summer is to be on the water. So kayaking or tubing down the river, those are my favorite things to do.
Sounds fun. And what is your all-time favorite book?
Well, I have many all-time favorite books. I'd say one of them is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it's just a good guidebook for being highly effective.
That's great. Good questions, Leonie. How about, do you mind sharing with people, what is your favorite book?
I don't have one.
You don't have a favorite book?
Uh-uh.
Which book are you reading right now?
It's the series you gave me.
The series I gave you, and that was, what was the author again?
Rick Riordan.
Oh, Rick Riordan.
He wrote Percy Jackson. I read that. And The Heroes of Olympus.
There you go. Leonie loves books. So
Sounds a lot more fun than mine.
Yeah. So Amber, maybe do you mind just kind of telling the audience a little bit more about your business and why did you start your business?
Yeah, I started in real estate almost 18 years ago. I bought my first home when I was fairly young and had a pretty bad experience with an agent, and I thought, I can totally do this. So I got my license and been selling homes for quite a while. And I decided to open up my own firm, and that was about 4 years ago. So I have my own company that's located right in Maple Valley, and it's there's 6 of us ladies on the team, and we all live in the area and have a passion for real estate.
Yeah, that's great. And so, going through this process, and we're still kind of, going through the process now that we're renting our place back, and it's an emotional time.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived in our home for almost 12 years now, and but at the same time we're excited for what's next. Mm-hmm. And so but what was great of just having not just yourself, even though obviously I love working with you, Amber, but the whole team around you. Mm-hmm. Do you mind just sharing what are the different things that your team takes care of if a person is putting up their home for sale so they don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's really great about having a seasoned team. I mean, we have over 60 years of combined experience between all of us. And I think what makes us different is I have a full-time assistant who's a managing broker. So she can really do anything, all things real estate. So she's always there and behind the scenes taking care of the little things and the details just to make it a really smooth process. And then we have a stager. We have an in-house stager. We have also we have 4 buyers agents, so they can assist buyers with, and they don't just help people buy, but they can also help people sell.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having a team. If anything happens and I'm unavailable, there's always somebody right there to take care of things. So yeah, it gives a lot of confidence to our sellers and our buyers.
It was, my favorite moment was when Cindy is your assistant is so we were in the midst of still packing, and we already had kind of the date set for the photo shoot, and Cindy and Lynn came over, and it was just still madness. But and so we were trying to figure out, okay, where is the second key for the house and all that, and Cindy said, don't worry about it. We'll just make a copy of it. And it was, it's such a small thing, but it meant a lot for us because it was one less thing that we had to worry about,
Yeah, we really want to take the stress. It is, like you said, it's a highly emotional. This is your home. You've lived there for 12 years. You've raised your kids there. There's a lot of emotion, and you can get distracted. There's a checklist you have that you're doing. We've got our checklist, and so to be able to come in and scoop up any little things that need to get done is our goal.
Yeah, yeah. So, Leonie, right now we're looking at different homes. Shout out to Suzanne, by the way, also part of Amber's team that has been very patient with me and Katya as we're looking at different homes. But Leonie, do you want to share with the audience maybe what do you hope to have in the next home that we're going to be getting?
Chickens.
Chickens. Just like your mom, huh? Why chickens?
Their eggs are better.
They are better. They are much better with a really dark egg yolk and having those eggs every morning for breakfast. That would be nice. And then,
Yummy.
was there any other animals that you're hoping to get?
Pigs.
Pigs as well? Well, that's new.
Oh, boy.
Man, so it really is going to be a farm, huh? Yeah. And so, Leonie, but from our old house, is there anything that you're going to miss?
Our neighbors.
Yeah. I think all of us, our entire family, we're going to be missing our neighbors. And especially for Andrea and Russ, if you guys are listening in or watching, we are going to be coming over a lot just to stay in touch with you guys. But, we're really excited for what's next for us. And we were just blown away how quick everything moved. The first time that Amber, my wife Katya, myself sat down to really think about potentially putting our home up for sale was actually, I think, only just a week before we put it on the market.
That's right.
And then so that was fast. And then by the time that we received the offers, it was just like, wow. So Amber, do you mind sharing with the audience, because I'm sure that a lot of people have similar questions that Katya and myself had of, well, with the pandemic right now, wouldn't you think that it's that the market is slower and that that it might not be the best time to buy?
Yeah, we get that a lot. A lot of
Yeah.
people are like, what? It's a pandemic. What's going on? So,
Yeah.
no, the market is strong, and a lot of it's driven by, we still have a good economy. We're bringing a lot of jobs into the Seattle, Bellevue area, and people are looking for housing, and there just is a shortage. There's just not a lot of options out there for folks, and everybody needs housing. So, definitely it's a good time to list also because the interest rates are low. So you can buy pretty affordable around 3.5% percentage rate right now. So it's a great time to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is more inventory coming on. So if people are out there looking and they're getting discouraged, just hang in there. There's more coming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think at first our thought was maybe we're going to write it out a little bit until we start looking for another home, because after selling our house above asking price, we figured, well, with the next property, in order to have enough room for Leonie and Mom's chickens. We're going to need more property, so that maybe it would be better for us to wait. So maybe, do you mind sharing a little bit more about just the impact of the interest rates right now? Because I think was one of the deciding factors for us to already start looking now because of the historic low interest rates.
Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, for sure. Interest rate actually plays a bigger part in a decision than price, which seems strange. But, when the interest rate goes up 1%, it's pricing you out of the market by 10%. So if you're looking at like a $500,000 home at a 4%, the interest rate is 3%, you can actually afford a $550,000 home, so that 1% really gives you a lot more buying power at the same monthly payment. So, and over time, if you pull out an amortization schedule, you'll see that interest just, it's just over time. It's just a huge difference. The average time people stay in their home is probably about 7 years or so right now. But even over 7 years, that interest rate difference will really make a big impact over time.
Yeah.
So
I think that definitely was the deciding factor for us. And also Matt from Fairway, who's helping us out on the financial side, said the same thing, basically, of, right now with just the interest rates being so historically low, and then plus, and maybe you can share a little bit more about this as well, Amber, is that here in the Seattle, King County, even Pierce County area, inventory is low. So even if the inventory would start to increase, it sounds like it's not to be expected there's going to be huge shifts in pricing. Is that right?
Of course, we don't have a crystal ball, but all the economists out there are forecasting, some growth over the next 12 months. Maybe albeit a little bit less, maybe in some, depending on what area you're in. But certainly like this Seattle, suburbs of Seattle, and more folks are actually coming out of the city and moving into areas like Black Diamond, Maple Valley, Covington, Kent, Enumclaw. More people are working remotely so they can have more options for places to live. Certainly, as long as the job market continues, which it is, there will be a demand. And certain segments of the market, there's a higher demand than others. So it just kind of depends. And we can walk anybody through that. Like, where are you looking? What's your price range? We can pull up a lot of stats and data on what's the inventory like, what are the projections looking like in that area. So we have a lot of data to help people make decisions on, are they going to buy now? Do they want to wait? And what that can look like.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of math involved. Of that, what Amber was talking about, Leonie, is that so when you're purchasing a house, it's a lot of money that goes into it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the purchase price, so, maybe if somebody's selling a house for, let's say, $100,000, it's going to be a small house, but $100,000 in our area, okay? And then most people, they have to borrow some money from the bank. And then they have to pay the bank for the money that they've borrowed. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right? And so when a person goes out to purchase a house, they're looking at both things. They're looking at, how much do I have to pay for the house? But how much do I need to pay the bank for getting the loan as well? And so right now, what's really good is that people do not have to pay a lot to the bank, and so that's exciting for us as we're looking now for a new home.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can get more chickens.
Yeah.
And maybe a rooster.
Oh yeah.
Amber, one other thing that I enjoyed, I'm a data guy. My team can attest to that. It's one thing that is really, really important to us at White Marketing Services, is that we're completely data driven. Mm-hmm. So we try to determine, how many people are searching for XYZ on Google, and that's how we're going to, invest our effort and our time, right? And that's one thing that I really appreciated about working with you and your team, is that you have a ton of data that you use as well. For example, something small as putting up our house on a Thursday for sale. So can you maybe talk about what's so significant about Thursday?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, traditionally, of course, we're in a pandemic right now, and so there's a lot more people working from home these days, so they're a little bit more flexible. But just traditionally, listing on a Thursday is wise because we want to have at least 2 to 3 days of marketing and syndicating out our listings and doing all the promotions that we do and paid advertisements that we do so that we can get that just that online traffic going. We're getting, thousands of people looking at our listings within the first few days.
Yeah.
And that really helps when people are most likely to look, which is weekends. So if you kind of look at a week, we're getting, a bulk of our showings are still happening during weekends.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of that. And then if it's in a segment of the market where it's really low inventory, we can really see whether or not we have a high chance of getting a multiple offer situation. If it's looking like that's possible, then we can set review dates and say, okay, if you want to go ahead and take your time over the weekend, take a look at it, maybe even have a pre-inspection of the property, make sure you're happy with it the way it is, and then we'll review offers on that Monday or Tuesday. And each listing's a little bit different. We don't do the same thing for each one because we are looking at that data, like what is the price range, how many buyers are out looking for a home like this one right now, what is the averages of the homes that are similar to this one. So we're just kind of strategizing based on each property.
Yeah, that's great. And so maybe to kind of break it down a little bit, because there's a lot of good information in there, but because to me it's still phenomenal and amazing that we were able to sell in a pandemic our home in just 4 days. And so maybe to kind of summarize, it sounds like things that play a role in that is when are you actually publishing, or when are you actually going live?
Okay.
When are you actually posting your house for sale? And so in our case, it was on Thursday. I think, didn't you even say that we're going to still play it by ear as well? Because if there would have been several other homes that came on the market that same week, then would you have potentially adjusted also when we put it on the market, or how does that play a role?
I don't think it would have changed the day that we were coming on. I think that was a good day just because of the amount of showings. But do we look really closely at what's new and what's has come on the market just prior? So yes, we're kind of fine tuning things. I'm just a big real estate geek, so I'm watching like a hawk, what new has come up and what do we need to do to be competitive. So certainly. And playing some things by ear is a must.
Yes.
Sometimes even if you set a review date, you'll get somebody that comes in and says, hey, I'll waive all my contingency. I'll pay this price.
Yeah.
And so some sellers will cave and go, well, I'm not going to wait. I just want to take this.
Yeah.
And so, we look at it just holistically and in real time.
Yeah. And, but, that's one thing that definitely came across very quickly, and I was amazed at it, speaking to how you said that you're a real estate geek, especially in Maple Valley. I remember when Katya and I were kind of looking at other properties of just kind of trying to get an idea of what our house might be able to sell for. Just a vague description of the home, you're like, oh yeah, that's over there in this neighborhood, or that's over there in this street. And so,
right, yeah.
So Amber really does know, especially kind of that Maple Valley area, so well. And because how long have you been now in Maple Valley? How many years has it been?
Well, actually, my family moved me out there in my senior year of high school. And I was like, what? Because I grew up in Issaquah, and I was like, this is crazy. So I drove back to Issaquah every day through to finish up high school.
Yeah.
And so I've been there since '93. Did go back to Issaquah for a little bit, but ultimately decided that's where I wanted to make it my home. So I've raised my kids there and been very involved in the community since on and off, but 2004-ish.
Yeah.
So what is that now? 16 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great place to live, and great people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we spoke about just the timing of when a listing goes onto the market, and you also touched base a little bit on price, and that's one thing that that I also appreciated in conversations with you is, of course, every homeowner, including ourselves, we think our home is worth $1 million minimum.
Yeah, true.
And so, but I just love, and I don't know if you want to share anything else about this, Amber, but I love kind of like the strategy that you put behind, exactly how are we pricing it, and with everything that's going on in the market. In fact, we, in the end, we priced ours roughly around like where we wanted it to be. So do you mind sharing just a little bit about like what are some of the strategies that go into
Pricing.
to pricing?
I mean, pricing real estate is like an art form, and it's definitely a honed skill. So, I mean, if you are looking to sell your home, definitely get 2 to 3, successful, experienced agents. I would say 10 years or more in the industry to have licensed experience to help you price your home, because it takes a lot of experience to really learn how to price homes. But we also have a lot of the latest technology available to us. I mean, I have a lot of things at my fingertips to be able to really assess a home's value. But doing a really thorough walkthrough of the home and really gauging the condition, what's needed to improve the home, are there things that we could do to increase the value of the home that are low cost? Because, of course, there's always a point where if you put too much, you're not going to get it back out. So we really talk through with our clients about how do we get there? How do we get to that price point that they want to be at, and also stay in line with, what the market will bear. So yeah, it's definitely an in-depth. I don't just shoot one out in 5 minutes. I spend a lot, of time on that piece.
Yeah. And so Leonie, one of the things that Amber and her team, as most real estate agents do when they try to price out the value of a home, is they will pull together, other properties that have sold in the area, and so and the name is comps. Like, is that?
Yeah. So the comps or comparative homes are comparable to the subject property. So you're picking, you want to get at least three or four really similar homes that have sold recently, and then you're comparing them. How if somebody paid this for this house and this house and this house, based on this information, what would they pay for my home? And so there's a lot more that goes into that. But basically, that's how you're assessing the value. It's a lot like anything else, too. I mean, there's some other things. This is more in depth because you're talking about a property and a house. And so there's a lot more that goes into it. But,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's where it's nice to have a professional like Amber help us out, right, Leonie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could go on for longer on that because, like you said, it really is kind of an art and a science. And, obviously the more data that you have, the easier it becomes. But I'm sure that there's probably people out that are listening or watching that are kind of like, well, there's no homes that have sold here recently in my neighborhood. Like where we're looking right now, there's not a whole lot of homes that have sold in that area. So that's where, I think to your point, it really is kind of like an art and a science of determining that then.
Yeah, it definitely is. And different agents have different strategies. So some agents will go, well, I sell for, 5% more on average than the other sales. And so, but there are some agents that'll price things low in hopes that they're going to get this bidding war and get the price really up. And it doesn't always happen that way. So you really want to be really smart about how you decide what strategy you're taking.
Yeah. And then the other thing that you touched based on a little bit more, and all of this is under the umbrella of, these are important things to have in place in order to sell a house like ours in 4 days. So another thing that you kind of touched based on is the aspect of promotion. And as we were going into this, I had no idea. I thought, well, maybe we need to then like share things out on Craigslist, or I don't know. And I'm sure that probably there's people watching that are way more seasoned than me and Leonie over here. But we didn't have to do anything. It's your team that did all this. So can you share maybe a little bit more? What does that actually mean, and how it's phenomenal that you put a listing up and it gets like 1,000 views from people. But how do you actually do that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really believe in the correct pricing, and then the presentation of the home. So having the pictures look really phenomenal and really showcasing the home in the highest and best light is really important. So we put a lot into our photography and drone photography and videography and things, so that when it is out there, people are like, oh my goodness, what is this? I have to see this house.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece. And then once we have all that packaged up, then what we're doing is we're syndicating it out. So through the MLS, a lot of things get syndicated out automatically, but we're also Premier Zillow and Realtor.com. We pay for a lot of featured ads and placements on different websites, as well as like social media, and we even use Craigslist.
Yeah.
So any place we can put a home, you'll find it there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, Amber, there are people that are watching that are maybe like in the Tacoma area or Seattle area, so not necessarily an area that you service directly or that you focus on. People that are in Maple Valley, definitely you need to call Amber Bills and her team. But for other people that might be watching right now, are there any other tips that you can give them as they're looking for a real estate agent?
Sure. And I just want to say, so we are located in Maple Valley, but if you look at the map of all of our sales, you'll see Black Diamond, Enumclaw, Kent, Issaquah, North Bend, Snoqualmie, even Seattle. We just closed on a Ballard condo. So we do go out where we're comfortable, because we do believe in being a local expert and really understanding. But because I've lived here my whole life, there are different areas. And some of my buyer's agents, one really knows Tacoma. So we do have people on our team that also specialize. Actually, Susanna is really good at like Gig Harbor, Port Orchard, Buckley, Bonnie Lake. So, we really do service kind of a wider area. But we do have, so if you're going to interview somebody, let's say you're outside of that area and you want to interview an agent, I would definitely say, again, a veteran agent statistically is going to get you a higher price. And not just the price, but there's a lot of protection and risk that can be associated with selling a home. So if you're going with somebody that only has a few years experience, you're kind of putting yourself at risk. Not to say they couldn't do a great job, but definitely somebody that knows the contracts really well in and out, top to bottom. I mean, our contracts are thick with legal jargon. They're like a standard contract's about 35 pages long. So really understanding the ins and outs of that, and also asking them for their sales record. Any good agent should be able to show, how many homes they've sold in an area, what was their the sales price, what was the list to sales price ratio. There's a lot. They should be able to come and say kind of like a resume of their experience, and also testimonials. So check out that agent, look them up on Google, their name, go on Zillow, put their name in there. You should be able to see their recommendations as well on those websites. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And if anybody needs a referral, we've got some really great agents that work in Idaho. A lot of people are moving to Idaho right now.
Yes.
Idaho, Texas, Arizona. So we've got some seasoned agents that we've interviewed in those areas. So if anybody ever wants a referral, we can help with that as well.
Awesome. Yes, and so on the live stream, you guys should see in the scrolling text is Amber's phone number. It's 425-281-0373, so you can call or text Amber and her team. Or you can also go to her website, which is www.amberbills.com. Can you say that?
Amberbills.com.
Amberbills.com. That is it.
No www anymore, huh? That's old school.
Well, Amber, thank you for coming and sharing all this great information with people. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking about real estate. They're thinking about what's going on with the market. So I'm sure that this information is going to be really helpful for people. We at White Marketing Services, it's all about marketing and using data to our advantage. And so that's why I was super excited to have Amber here and be able to kind of share some of our expertise and, also kind of share the news that, hey, we sold our house and it's exciting times for me and Leonie. Go ahead and check Amber's website out, amberbills.com, or give her a call or text her. And until next time, God bless and bye.
Bye-bye.